Hare Krishna. Welcome back to another daily reading with Pranata Karuna Das here. Today we are broadcasting live from Athens Krishna House. We have, you'll never guess who, our stalwart Bhakta Adam is here. And we have Nikunja Nagari on Zoom. And yeah, we just arrived. We're just getting settled in, but we can't miss our reading. So we whipped up a live studio here, and we're just going to start with a little kirtan, and then we're going to dive into chapter 9, text 15 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Shri Krishna Very elegant.
On your part.
I meant you. Hare Krishna. All right. All right. Okay. Diving in here. Chapter 9, text 15. So we always start with our Mangalacharana, invocation prayers. Hare Krishna. So if you want to follow along, they are on page 1. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pongong langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Okay. Chapter 9, text 15. Jnana yagyena chapyanye yajantu mam upasate ekatvena pritatvena bahuda vishvato mukham. Let me see. Is the it seems like the quality of the picture is not normally how it is. Is that right? To whoever's online? Or I guess Nakunja, you're the only one. Get up close and personal there. Alright, it just doesn't, it looks like pixelated to me, but if it looks good to you, that's what matters. Okay. Translation of text 15. Alright. We got Bhakta Adam is here. Hare Krishna.
Pretty good.
Alright. Thank you.
Not bad, yeah.
Alright, we're just gonna roll with it. Okay, text 15. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse and many, and in the universal form. Purport. This verse is the summary of the previous verses. The Lord tells Arjuna that those who are purely in Krishna consciousness and do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatma. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in the position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. Some of them have already been described as the distressed, the financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into three. One, he who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. Two, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. And three, he who accepts the universal form, the Vishvarupa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worships that. Out of the above three, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monists, are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship, for they can understand that they are not the material body, but are actually spiritual soul. At least, such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalists worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of the demigods, those who by imagination consider any form to be the form of the Supreme Lord. And the third class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of this material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of the Lord.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were going to say something. Text 16. Aham kraturaham yagya swadaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajam aham agniraham hutam. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering.
I have a question.
Okay.
So he says these things. And I've contemplated this verse, thinking, like, I've taken it outside of the context of just worship, and I've also placed it, and I've thought of it, and I want to know if this is like, because it is a mental concoction, but I at least want to know how accurate it is, because it has me curious. Krishna says that he is the offering and the sacrifice, and makes me think that, like, if, for example, I wanted to donate charity to some place that really deserved charity, according to Shastra, according to the mode of goodness, if I wanted to give charity in the mode of goodness, and I sacrificed some money and everything, is he also saying that in this verse? Because is he also applying what he's saying here to that kind of thing, where he's the sacrifice and just generally, is he that? I mean, he is.
You could say yes.
Yeah, I guess the knowledge is already there. It's kind of a useless mental concoction.
No, it's not. It's good. Yagya. It is I who am the ritual, the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. So, we tend to think of yagya as strictly meaning like fire yagya. But yagya really can be, sometimes devotees use the word yagya to describe like a really big service. Like, man, going out on books today was a yagya because we had to move all these books and we had to do all this it's like hard work. Sometimes devotees use the word yagya because it was like a big endeavor and, big sacrifice. But really, offering your money, offering your time and service, any service offered is basically like a form of yagya. So, yeah, Krishna is saying, I am that. But then, Prabhupada might expound in the purport some. I'm not really exactly sure what's in this purport. But
Our sacrifice is the hearing process.
Well, he says, I think it's actually coming up. It might be the next verse.
Oh, we may have already read it.
No, it's somewhere here. I don't know which one it is.
I'm the goal, the master, the witness. It's so nice.
Well, I was thinking, I don't know exactly where the verse is, but he says, he either uses the word austerities or the word yajna. Of sacrifices, I am japa. He says that.
Does he use the word japa?
Yeah.
Wow. What? In the Bhagavad Gita?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're going to read it. We didn't read it yet. We're going to. We'll get there sometime. I don't know exactly where it is. I think it's somewhere around here.
I love when you read something and it really pertains to you. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, this resonates.
But anyway, let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport here. I'll read the verse again. But it is I whom the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Purport. The Vedic sacrifice known as Jyoti Stoma is also Krishna, and he is also the Mahayagya mentioned in the Smriti. The oblations offered to the Pitraloka, or the sacrifice performed to please the Pitraloka, considered as a kind of drug in the form of clarified butter, is also Krishna. The mantras chanted in this connection are also Krishna. And many other commodities made with milk products for offering in the sacrifices are also Krishna. The fire is also Krishna because fire is one of the 5 material elements and is therefore claimed as the separated energy of Krishna. In other words, the Vedic sacrifices recommended in the Karma Kand division of the Vedas are in total also Krishna. Or in other words, those who are engaged in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas.
My atheist brain, after reading what he said. Or in other words, those who are engaged in other words, the Vedic sacrifices recommended in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedas are in total also Krishna. And my atheist brain goes, oh yeah, what doesn't that mean? You know what that means?
That means me enjoying my senses is also Krishna, right? Is that where
that's where it comes from. I want to equate it with, I'm like, yeah, that's also Krishna. That's where that idea comes from. That I would want to think that it's the same as worshipping Bhagavad.
Right, but the thing is, at least in those sections, when they're done properly, they're meant to bring you closer to Krishna. Whereas just flat out sense gratification does not. Right?
Yes, that's true. They are meant, yes. Yes, that's good clarity.
Alright. Text 17. Pitamasya jagato matadata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksama yajra evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier of the syllable Om. The purifier and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. The entire purport. The entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy. Under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, and so on. But actually they are parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, and so on are nothing but Krishna. In this verse, the word Tata means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but the creator, grandmother, and grandfather, and so on are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas, therefore, aim only toward Krishna. Whatever we want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step toward understanding Krishna. That subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna, and as such, is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called Pranava, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna. And because in all the hymns of the four Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, the Pranava or Omkar is very prominent, it is understood to be Krishna. Text 18. Katir Bhata Prabhu Shakshi Nivasa Sharanam Surit Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijamavyayam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal seed. Purport. Gati means the destination where we want to go, but the ultimate goal is Krishna, although people do not know it. One who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of the strict respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Indraloka, Maharloka, and so on. But all such lokas or planets, being creations of Krishna, are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Such planets, being manifestations of Krishna's energy, are also Krishna, but actually they serve only as a step forward for realization of Krishna. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. One should directly approach Krishna, for that will save time and energy. For example, if there is a possibility of going to the top of a building by the help of an elevator, why should one go by the staircase, step by step? Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. Krishna is the supreme ruler because everything belongs to him and everything exists on his energy. Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, is the supreme witness. The residences, countries, or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of shelter, and therefore one should take shelter of Krishna either for protection or for annihilation of his distress. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Krishna is the supreme living entity, and since Krishna is the source of our generation, or the Supreme Father, no one can be a better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes. Tapamyaham aham varsham nigranami utsrajami cha amritam jaiva mrityuscha sarasaschaham Arjuna. O Arjuna, I give heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Report. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During the summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then, during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one therefore makes no such distinctions. He sees only Krishna in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form, comprising all material manifestations, is also Krishna. And his pastimes in Vrindavan as two-handed Shyam Sundar, playing on a flute, are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
This is Bhagavatam purport. In the advanced stage of devotional service, the devotee does not see anything separate between his own interests and those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Both interests become one, for the devotee does not act for a separate interest. Whatever he does in the interest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At that time, he sees everything in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything. Having attained this stage of understanding, he sees no distinction between the spiritual and material worlds.
Very nice.
No distinction between the spiritual and material worlds.
Where in the Bhagavatam?
Canto 4, towards, I think, Canto 4, chapter 28, somewhere.
It's a nice connection there. Yeah. And Krishna.
Which one are we? We're on 21, right?
20.
20.
Travidyamam somapaputa papa yagyar isvasvargatim pratayante te punyamasya sarendra lokam ashnanti devyan divi deva bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Purport. The word Trividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Rig. A Brahmin who has studied these three Vedas is called a Trivedi. Anyone who is very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actual Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. Devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, and so on. Once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. Hare Krishna.
Or we can chant Krishna's name one time.
And surpass all of that
Go wrong.
10 million, 10 billion, infinity times.
Yes.
Text 21. Titam bhukva svargalokam vishalam chine punye martalokam vishanti evam trayi dharma manu prapana gatagatam kama kama labante. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Purport. One who is promoted to the higher planetary systems enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earth upon finishing the resultant fruits of pious activities. He who has not attained perfection of knowledge, as indicated in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadyasya Yataha, or in other words, he who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, becomes baffled about achieving the ultimate goal of life, and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planets, and then again coming down, as if situated on a Ferris wheel, which sometimes goes up and sometimes comes down. The purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world from which there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems.
I have a question. Do these people who worship demigods primarily, or just people who are, following the karma kanda, that whole thing, do those people have knowledge that there exists a way of being permanently liberated? Or do they just think that that's what they get by worshiping the demigods specifically?
It's a mixed batch.
Mixed batch.
Some may not know. Some may know, but just want, they're just absorbed in wanting to enjoy the senses.
Because if you read like one of the Puranas in the Mode of Ignorance, like the Lingam Purana, I think it's called. That's one from Shiva, about Shiva. So it's in the Mode of Ignorance. And I mean, they say Shiva is the Supreme Personality. They say all kinds of things. And so I take it people just are attracted to the flowery words, like how Krishna said.
Yeah, it's a mixed batch. Some may be, some may never heard anything else and they don't have the knowledge. Some may have heard, but they are choosing to pursue developing their material enjoyment instead. You know, some people may hear, but then they get mad and envious.
And that's still a lavish position to be in, where you're pursuing something, but like you have knowledge. That's a seed planted. Sooner or later, you're probably going to want that.
Well,
You think?
it is basically said that, well, to not have the knowledge and act karmically, like if you want to eat meat or something, you're going to get a karmic reaction for that. But if you heard the knowledge and you still do it, then it's a little bit worse of a reaction.
Yeah.
And then basically the most unfortunate position is one who has the opportunity to come to the knowledge and to serve Krishna, but then they just go away. It's like the most unfortunate. Because they're deliberately choosing, you know, sense gratification over Krishna after hearing about Krishna. But yeah, it just depends. There's so many different arrangements that can be made. You know, one may be in the middle of, you know, going through a several life cycle of, you know, coming from a higher position and then moving more into sense gratification, and they're in the in-between stage now where they like appear to be like, well, I mean, they're like, you know, they kind of enjoy their senses, but they are also chanting Hare Krishna or something. And you think, okay, you know, but not everyone's working towards Krishna. You know, some are, you know, on their way, like, you know, towards just more material enjoyment and, you know, wanting to forget Krishna more. But undoubtedly, there is some benefit in the chanting, you know, but, you know, the desire and the intention of everything supersedes, you know, where, you know, it determines where they're going to go more so. Because if you don't want Krishna, you know, like, Krishna does not force himself on you. Yeah. And he'll say, all right. You know, so many devotees have been really fired up devotees. And then, you know, they decide, you know, I'm good on devotional service. And that's just their choice. Definitely benefit was there for the devotional service that was rendered. But anyway, just kind of ranting now, but anyway, did that answer your question though?
It did, yeah.
Sweet.
Lakshmi of information. I'm not unhappy.
One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy an eternal life full of bliss and knowledge, and never return to this miserable material existence. Text 22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate yasam nitya biyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Purport. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day, being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable conditioned life. Yepyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita te mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Purport. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly. Krishna says, for example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as a vidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Ahami sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijanati tatvinataśya vantite. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Purport. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should only work for a satisfying yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnashram Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the Supreme Master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result.
Can I read that again?
Which one?
From less intelligent persons.
Sure. You gonna read it out loud?
I'll do it. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact that Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is the Supreme Master, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result. I don't really know why I wanted to read it again, but I did.
Okay.
Apologies.
Text 25. Yanti devavrata devan pitran yanti pitravrata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino pimo. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Purport. If one has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose, such as the process technically known as Darsha Purnamasi. These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha, or pisacha. Pisacha worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and they think that it is spiritualism. But such activities are completely materialistic.
Did Hiranyakashipu do that?
I don't remember it specifically being stated that he did. What he did was he performed austerities standing on his tippy toes,
Yeah.
and he got the benediction from Lord Indra.
In the movie Mahabharata Nrsimha, it is described that Hiranyakashipu, it's told that Hiranyakashipu was he was practicing. He was very well versed in the black arts and black magic, and he was like already like killing innocent people all the time with his brother. Before he developed, and he developed a desire to, because he wanted to be God, and so because he wanted to be God, then he went to Brahma.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It probably is, because that was made by devotees.
Yeah. I can't confirm nor deny. Whatever it says in the Bhagavatam, I would follow. We'll get to it eventually. Alright, completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live, and because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahmajyoti. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society, to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead. Let me see. We'll take any points. Nakunja online, you got anything? Any points you want to share? Realizations? Questions, comments? Chastisements? Well, we're nearing the end of chapter 9 already. So, we're here in Athens Krishna House. And our mission is to perform regulated hearing and chanting, and basically invite everyone to come and join. Like, just invite everyone to come and join, basically. Whatever way we can. And we have enough mridungas and kartals and instruments in here to have extremely tasty kirtan. If the people just come. And we're waiting on the word back, but Gorni Tai is going to make an appearance here with Giri Govardhan and the entire Parampara, including the 6 Goswamis. And anyway, we're just kind of setting the intention strong by immediately upon arriving, diving into hearing Prabhupada's books. And we're praying that we can provide a service for the community, opening up the doors of the preaching center on a daily basis, and doing spiritual programs for them, and praying that Krishna will give a taste. Some tastes will awaken in their heart, and they will become inspired to practice more, perhaps. If they're already practicing, maybe practice more, or come associate with devotees more. And if they're brand new, maybe they'll come and get a taste of the atmosphere created from simply chanting Hare Krishna and hearing Prabhupada's books, and maybe they'll get inspired to also start practicing that themselves. And so anyway, we're just really desirous to serve the devotees here and keep the vibration going as far as possible. Hare Krishna. What do you say?
I see.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
I'm just along for the ride, but I'm really that's not exactly how I feel either. It's like I'm just I know it's gonna be good somewhere in me, but I'm just like in this mode where I'm like I'm confident it's going to be good. I have conviction that we're going to have some very nice services being performed, and we're going to invite people. You know, that's amazing. I really look forward to that. Actually, the way you described that was very relishable. I look forward to it. Right now, I'm a little off kilter, just right now, because I hadn't eaten. I haven't really eaten like I usually do at the right times, and probably whatever other random things are making me be disconnected. Of course, hearing is the only goal. I just want to hear. I'm really happy we're going to do regulated hearing. That's a great idea.
Yeah, get settled in, find the balance. The mind will be pacified.
Yes.
But online, Kunja saying not at this time. Very happy to be hearing. You two are going to be amazing there, and with your service. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes.
Haribo.
At least the stalwart half of us was going to be amazing for sure. Hare Krishna. Okay, so well, if there's no discussion, we do need to. We got some stuff to do yet, and get settled in, and maybe even be setting up a little bit of an altar and whatnot. So we don't. I'm just going to call it here. Thank you so much for tuning in, Kunja. Thank you, Dr. Adam, being here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yay.
Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nantakoti vaishnavrinda ki. Yay. Alright, so tomorrow we're going to continue with chapter 9, text 26. Hare Krishna. Have a good night. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.